Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, so I've got a couple of Dillon presses here, and at the beginning of this year, I only had one, and was just happened to be in a store. It's hard to find any reloading stuff these days, but I just happened to come across a 750 with a 9mm conversion kit. Said, "What the heck? That's a sign from above. I should go ahead and purchase it." So I did, and that's what you see over here. Uh, Dillon 750. Been running it for about 2 months or so. And before I came from the 650. It's a newer model 650, and didn't have any issues with the 650, but thought, well, the 750 is supposed to be the newer and improved, so I went ahead and bought it with the intent of selling the 650. Well, I haven't sold the 650 yet, and let me tell you why. Um, so I'm not going to go through all the little differences of the 750 versus the 650, but the biggest difference is this new priming system. And I apologize for the gloves. I was cleaning some brass. But the biggest difference is this priming system. And, it's they call it a linear priming system. And the biggest thing for me was that if you um, don't seed a primer, it essentially can, stays there and is waiting for a next available piece of brass, and you can seed it. Where on the 650, it's got the rotary dial system, and it that live primer goes into a live primer shoot area. I'll show you in just a second. So anyway, that's the huge difference from on the 750. It's faster to change from large to small primers, or small to large, a lot quicker. But I was loading up some 10mm the other day and noticed something. After loading about 100 rounds, I noticed that my primers were dented, had little dents in them. And as I inspected to see what was causing it, I noticed that in the priming area there was some debris, and it was little shavings of brass from 10mm CBC brass. I didn't know this, but has a little bit of a crimp on it, and so you can't feel it when you're seating primers. You really can't feel it, but what it does is it shaves off just a little piece of that crimp. And because of the way this priming system is, you gotta really keep it clean. Well, I didn't know that, and I had about 20 or so dented primers as a result. So um, that's one thing that I didn't really see a whole lot of people talking about. This is essentially the same priming system from the old 550, with a little bit some differences, but it's essentially the same. And you'll hear from a lot of 550 users that say you have to keep that priming system clean. Well, that is absolutely true. So one thing I wanted to compare it with is that older style um, priming system on the 650. And if you can see in there, it's that it got that disc in there. And those primers, like I was talking about earlier, if they don't get seated, they come right into this live primer shoot area. Well, those little holes in there, let's see if I can point in there, um, where the primer's set, that disc, every time you use the handle, it rotates that disc, and any debris that's in there, it's going to rotate it right out of there and right into here. So I didn't pay any attention to it, but from using the 650 for a while, if you're loading a bunch of rounds, let's say 500 or more rounds, you'll notice you'll get some debris that falls down into this same live primer shoot area. And I didn't think anything of it, but what that is uh, little shavings, brass shavings, media from your cleaning corn cob or whatever, powder that may just get dropped. Um, it all can come down right there, and if it's in there and you have this style priming system, it just comes right into here, obviously. So it's a very nice priming system. I didn't realize that was that benefit. It's a huge benefit. And this has been around since the 1990s, early 90s. So I'm sure that there's some vintage ads out there that probably said exactly that. Oh, this is the benefit of this new 650 priming system, but I'm not able to find any. Obviously, those are long and gone because this thing's been around since the 90s, like I said. So so anyway, that's one thing. I'm considering just keeping the 650 mainly because of that reason. And the other reason, let me show you this. So here I have a setup with this is for, I believe, oh, it says right here, 223. Okay, so powder drop here. Station 3, I have a powder check. Station 4 is a bullet feed, and then 5 is a seat and crimp. So on this, the way that powder bar is angled, when it operates, it goes right back, and it has plenty of clearance, unless you're running some super tall micrometer die. Well, never had any issues there. On the 750, because of how they put the priming system, it's angled in a way where it changes where that powder bar moves, and moves it to station 4, right into where that powder feed die is. And there's some solutions for it. The easiest one is from Double Alpha, replaces this powder bar, and it's an extra short one. So essentially, it still goes back that direction, but it's short enough to where it doesn't hit anything. They don't have one for the large powder bar like I would need for my 223 loads. So essentially, I'm kind of screwed there. And there's some solutions. Obviously you get rid of your powder check, and move your bullet feed over to station 3. You could eliminate the powder safe, fail safe rod, and use maybe springs or rubber bands to bring this powder bar back after it goes up. And then you can move it in any direction that you want. So I didn't like that. That was kind of a pain. So anyway, and while I'm being nitpicky, this powder bar essentially comes right back into you when you're loading, and it's not an issue typically, but let's say you're in that position and you need to check something. Well, now you got this bar sticking out, and I've hit my hand on it. It's pretty sharp there. Snag my clothes on it. And on the 650, it's pretty nice and compacted in there. You got nothing moving like that over here, that's poking out at you. So anyway, like I said, I know I'm being nitpicky, but I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and keep that 650. Here's the other thing, before I finish the video. The other thing is primer detonations on the 650. You'll see a lot of people talking on there about, if you get a primer detonate on the 650, because live primers are sitting right next to each other in that disc, that you can get a chain detonation, and then obviously it could go up and detonate everything into the tube. And that does happen. I've heard of it happening. It's rare, and it's mostly with soft Federal primers. I've never had an issue. I'll show you this here. Never had an issue with CCI primers. I've had some that I've crushed in there, and that's my bad. I should have felt that. This is one of those pieces of brass that has a crimp, and it made that primer go in sideways. Anyway, That didn't go off. I don't know how that didn't go off, but if it did, potentially I could have had a chain detonation and had an entire primer magazine explode. And Dillon will take care of you 100% on all the parts if that happens. Everything I've read is that if that detonates, this blast shield is built to withstand that explosion, and you'll just basically get everything exploding right up into your ceiling. And I'm sure that's not a good day, but it's built with that safety in mind, so you don't have to worry about getting hurt. Um, I tend to load with eye protection and sometimes with ear protection, so I'm not that worried about that. And I really pay attention to the feel now, so that this doesn't happen again. Um, Now, that is almost a chain detonation is almost impossible on this linear priming system, because that primer, when it gets seated, it's way over here where the shell plate is. The rest of the primers are in this magazine way back here, and then it's still built with that blast shield just in case. I will say that magazine is closer to your face than on the 650, but nonetheless, you have less of a chance of getting a chain detonation. I would venture to say almost impossible. So that is a huge plus on the 750. But is it a safety issue? I don't think so. And like I said, there's decades of people running this with zero issues, and that's been my experience so far too. So uh, I think what's going to happen is I don't need two of these presses, so I think I'm going to end up unfortunately selling that 750 and just keeping the 650. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, I know I'm being nitpicky, and if you have any tips or tricks or solutions to any of the issues that I've described on the 750, please let me know. But I appreciate you watching, guys, and we'll talk to you next time.